And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. People love their classic cars. They collect them all over the world. But the one drawback with those classic cars, those gas-guzzling engines. So a man has come up with an invention to get rid of the engine and put in electric vehicle technology. Let's take a look. Matt, you are on the cutting edge. For many of us who don't have an electronic vehicle, you have the solution. Also for many companies who would like to do that transition to be away from gas guzzling cars to clean energy. So tell us about the technology, the kit that you have created.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Isaiah. Yeah, and when we're going to say I created, we'll use I and me a lot, but it's obviously my team, especially my super smart guys, as well as my workers that carry the heavy loads and do the heavy lifting and whatnot. So props to them. But what we have done is, I believe we have filled a vacuum where there is some demand. And I think there is more demand than there is supply. And the demand is, look, I want an entire EV system to retrofit a classic vehicle, a kit vehicle, whatever it is. Probably not a 2018 Toyota. If you want an electric Toyota, buy an electric Toyota. But if you want an electric 1973 Jaguar, there's going to be some work to do.
Wow. And how
typically
receptive have classic car owners been to this?
Well, they're the ones that asked for it. They asked for it through our customers who built classic vehicles, and they would repower them typically with GM LS stuff, right? You can LS swap a kid's tricycle these days. But some of the customers said, hey, look, I want the electric. And it could be for multiple reasons, right? It could be, hey, I got pretty good performance out of electric. It could be, I'm very environmentally conscious. And maybe I'm being judged by my neighbors for firing up my old classic vehicle and making a lot of noise and blowing a lot of stuff out the tailpipe. Or it could be my favorite, which applies to me, which is ego. I've got the electric thing. You've got a classic 911. That's really cool. There's a lot of classic 911s out there. I have an electric classic 911.
That's a class by its own.
That is, yeah. I show up to an event. There's a whole bunch of Porsches. Great, it's a Porsche event. I pop the boot on mine. There's a bunch of battery packs. Oh man, what is that? So I get all the people around me, and that builds up my ego, and that's a good thing for me. But it's up to the individual, and obviously, look, this isn't we're not saying we're taking over the hot rodding industry. But there is a segment. We were talking earlier today, my team and I, guys that do bracket racing and drag racing. EVs are pretty awesome because you can't miss a shift, right? Mm-hmm. It's single speed. The consistency, as long as the batteries are at the same level, man, you can match your dial in like nobody's business. So there is a place for this in the hot rodding world. There's a place for this in the collector world. There's a place for this in the green world. There's a place for this in the fleet world. And the reason is because I say plug and play. I got to clarify. It's all the components you need, but the terminal ends don't have the connectors put on them because I don't know how long your cable needs to be. Mm-hmm. Having said that, we do have customers that do long runs of things, like they'll do dozens of Jaguars. We tell them how long the cable need to be, and we'll pre-terminate, making this thing, as far as the electrical goes, plug and play. Mechanical, guys like us, if you're in the cars, you know how to do mechanical. Everyone hates electrical. So we try and take the electrical off the to-do list for the end user.
And Matt, my hesitation as a car owner in not going to, and I don't know if this applies to you or not, but my hesitation for not going to an electronic vehicle is the drive distance and having to charge the battery. But that may not apply since you're talking about classic cars, collector's cars, because you're not going typically long distances. These are for show, weekends.
Absolutely. One of the questions we had at SEMA when we had our customers 73 Jaguar in there was, and I think it was mostly by the internal combustion engine haters, that would come by and go, "Hey, so what's the range on this thing?" And I'd say, it's 120 miles. And I've owned British cars before. I'd say it's 120 miles. Oh, where are you going to go on 120 miles? 110 miles further than you would if that thing had the original engine in it.
There you go. That makes the difference. And of course, obviously, it costs the cost of this, but you're also pumping a lot of money into that classic car. So if you want to take that classic car to the next level, this kit would be about how much?
So our street price starts at 55,000 and it goes all the way up to the low 100s if it's got every option and the 84 kilowatt hour 6-module battery versus the 42 kilowatt hour 3-module battery. So yeah, it's absolutely pricey. But you're not really apples to apples. You're apples to oranges. You're not apples to mailboxes in this thing, but you're apples to oranges on that.
And however, some classic car owners won't even blink twice at that amount for a classic car.
A lot of them won't, but there's another community, right? There's the guys with, maybe they've got an old Volkswagen GTI or like CRX, like I have many of, Miata, things like that. Some of those guys are like, man, I'm really intrigued over this, but dude, I don't want to end up with an $80,000 Miata. So what we've got on our list to do, amongst other things in 2024, is figure out how to dial that back. We don't necessarily need 300 foot-pounds of torque and everything. So can we work with a smaller motor? Can we dial the battery pack back for people who just want to go to Cars and Coffee and back and get that cost down to our target is I'd really like to have something for 25 grand that somebody could just have all the pieces plug and play and go do their thing. So that's a target for us.